Imagine this. It's 2 a.m. You're driving down a lonely stretch of highway in the middle of nowhere. No streetlights, no other cars. Just you, the hum of your tires, and the endless black road ahead. Your radio's been static for miles, but suddenly, it crackles. A voice cuts through, faint and garbled, saying your name. You freeze. You didn't tell anyone you were out here. Then, in your rearview mirror, you see it, a figure standing in the middle of the road, motionless, staring. You slam on the brakes, heart pounding. But when you look again, it's gone. Except now, something's tapping on your window. What do you do when the road you're on isn't yours anymore? Welcome back, my fellow night owls, to Dr. DarkVibe, the channel where your worst nightmares feel a little too real. I'm your host, the good doctor of dread, serving up spine-chilling true horror stories straight from the shadows. If you're obsessed with the paranormal, the unexplained, or just love that cold sweat down your back, you're in the right place. Tonight, we're diving into 3 unsolved roadside horror stories that'll make you think twice before taking that late-night drive. Buckle up. It's gonna get dark. This first story comes from Ethan, a trucker from Ohio, who swears he'll never drive Route 33 after what happened last summer. Ethan was hauling freight cross-country, the kind of job where you're alone for hours, just you and the road. It was around midnight, pouring rain, and he was on a desolate stretch of Route 33 when he saw her. A young woman standing by the roadside, thumb out, soaked to the bone. She wore a white dress, her hair plastered to her face. Ethan's a good guy, so he pulled over, figuring she was stranded. He rolled down his window, shouted, "You okay? Need a lift?" She didn't answer, just climbed into the passenger seat, dripping wet. Ethan noticed she was shivering, so he cranked the heat and offered her his jacket. She stayed quiet, staring straight ahead. "Where you headed?" he asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Just up the road." Ethan thought she was in shock, maybe running from something bad. He didn't push her. They drove in silence for about 10 minutes. The rain was coming down harder, and Ethan was focused on the road when he glanced over, and the seat was empty. His jacket was still there, dry as a bone. No water, no footprints, nothing. His heart started racing. He pulled over, checked the cab, even looked under the truck. She was gone. Shaken, he got back in and kept driving, trying to convince himself he'd imagined it. A few miles later, his CB radio sparked to life. A voice, her voice, came through clear as day. "You shouldn't have stopped." Ethan froze. He hadn't touched the radio. He yanked the plug, but the voice kept going, repeating, "You shouldn't have stopped." Then, a scream cut through the static, so loud it hurt his ears. He swerved, nearly crashing, and when he looked in his rearview mirror, he saw her again, standing in the road behind him, staring. He floored it, didn't stop until he hit a gas station at dawn. Ethan later learned Route 33 has a history of accidents and sightings of a woman in white who vanished from a wreck decades ago. No one knows who she was or why she's still out there. Our next story comes from Sarah, a college student in Nevada who was driving home from a late shift at a diner in 2023. She was on a winding back road locals call Devil's Bend, a place with a bad reputation. Car crashes, disappearances, you name it. Sarah didn't believe the rumors, but that night she wished she had. It was around 1 a.m., and Sarah was exhausted, her headlights cutting through the pitch-black desert. Suddenly, she saw lights in the distance, red and blue like police cars. She slowed down, thinking there was an accident or a roadblock, but as she got closer, the lights moved. They weren't on the road anymore. They were hovering above it, bobbing like fireflies. Sarah's stomach dropped. She stopped her car, trying to make sense of it. The lights started drifting toward her. She locked her doors, heart pounding. The lights got closer, and she could see they weren't just lights. They were glowing orbs, about the size of basketballs, pulsing with energy. One floated right up to her windshield, and she swears she heard a voice inside her head, not out loud, saying, "Follow us." She screamed, threw her car into reverse, and peeled out. But the orbs kept pace, darting around her car like they were playing with her. Sarah drove faster, tears streaming down her face. The orbs followed for miles, weaving through the air until she hit the edge of town. Then, just like that, they vanished. She pulled into a 24-hour gas station, sobbing, and told the clerk what happened. The old man behind the counter didn't look surprised. "You saw 'em," he said. "The lights on Devil's Bend. They've been luring folks off that road for years." He told her about drivers who followed the lights and never came back. Sarah never drove that road again. She tried to find answers online, but all she found were forums full of similar stories: glowing orbs, voices, missing people. Some say they're aliens. Others think they're spirits tied to an old mining disaster. Whatever they are, they're still out there waiting for the next driver. Our final story comes from James, a delivery driver in Oregon, who encountered something in 2024 that still keeps him awake at night. James was making a late-night run along a coastal highway, a route he'd driven 100 times. But that night, a dense fog rolled in, so thick he could barely see 10 feet ahead. He was crawling along at 20 miles an hour when he saw a man standing by the road. The guy was tall, wearing a long coat and a wide-brimmed hat, just standing there, head down. James thought he might be a hitchhiker or someone whose car broke down, so he pulled over. "Hey, you need help?" he called out. The man didn't move. James honked, but the guy just started walking, away from the car into the fog. Something felt off, but James couldn't leave him out there, so he got out and followed, calling, "Hey, wait up!" The fog was suffocating, and James could barely see the man's silhouette ahead. He kept walking deeper into the mist until he realized he couldn't hear the ocean anymore, or his car. Just silence. Then the man stopped and turned. James says his face wasn't right. It was too pale, too smooth, like a mask. The man smiled, and his mouth was too wide, full of sharp, needle-like teeth. He whispered, "You're not supposed to be here." James bolted, hard in his throat, running blind through the fog. He tripped, fell, scrambled up, expecting to feel those teeth in his back. Somehow he found his car, jumped in, and sped off. When he looked in his rearview mirror, the man was standing in the road, smiling that awful smile until the fog swallowed him. James reported it to the police, thinking he'd seen a psycho. They told him that stretch of highway has dozens of missing person cases, all tied to sightings of a man in the fog. No one knows who or what he is. James quit his job. He says he still sees that face in his nightmares. And there you have it, my friends. 3 unsolved roadside horrors that prove the open road isn't always as empty as it seems. Whether it's a ghostly hitchhiker, mysterious lights, or a thing that shouldn't exist. Sometimes the scariest part is what you can't explain. So next time you're driving alone at night, keep your eyes on the road. And maybe don't look in the rearview mirror. If these stories send a chill down your spine, smash that like button to let me know. Subscribe to Dr. DarkVibe and hit the bell so you never miss a nightmare. Drop a comment below. Have you ever seen something creepy on the road? Or maybe you've got a story that'll keep us up at night. Share it. I read every one. And if you thought tonight was scary, wait till you hear what's coming next week. It's gonna crawl under your skin.